This module is entitled Safety Reporting and was developed by ClinfoSource. This module will cover safety reporting of clinical trials and marketed drugs under these broad headings: regulations and guidelines, definitions, reporting requirements, responsibilities of sponsors, monitors, and investigators regarding safety reporting, reporting requirements in BA or BE studies, blinding. You peruse this module at your own pace. Normally, it takes between 1.5 hours to 2 hours to complete the module, including perusing the resource links and taking the test. Each page of the module presentation must be viewed online before you can access the module test. Wait for each slide image to load up. The link to the test can be accessed from the last page of the presentation or from the test link corresponding to the module on your My page, module list page. For investigational new drugs, the regulations applicable to adverse events and serious adverse events are contained in the Code of Federal Regulations, CFR, Title 21, under Part 312. 21 CFR 312, Subpart D, lists the responsibilities of sponsors and investigators. 21 CFR 312.32 explains how IND safety reports should be filed. For bioequivalence and bioavailability studies, such as for generic drugs, the regulations under 21 CFR 320 apply. Requirements for adverse experience reporting for biological products are found at 21 CFR 600.80. International Conference on Harmonization, ICH, Good Clinical Practice, GCP, provides similar guidelines in Topic E6, Sections 4 and 5. These sections address the responsibilities of investigators and sponsors, respectively. Topic E2A discusses guidelines on definitions and standards for expedited reporting. On September 29, 2010, the FDA issued new rules for adverse event reporting for IND studies and for drugs undergoing bioavailability, BA, and bioequivalence studies, BE, that are exempt from IND requirements. The effective date of the new rule is March 28, 2011. However, based on sponsor requests to extend the implementation date, FDA intends to exercise enforcement discretion regarding the reporting requirements in the final rule until September 28 of 2011. The FDA strongly encourages compliance with the new regulations as soon as possible and expects all sponsors to be in compliance with the new regulations no later than September 28, 2011. For marketed drugs, the regulations applicable to adverse and serious adverse events are contained in the Code of Federal Regulations, CFR, Title 21, under Parts 310.305 and 314.80. For biological products, the post-marketing reporting requirements, as found at 21 CFR 600.80, apply. No changes have been made yet to the requirements for marketed drugs or biologics, but a proposal was made in October of 2003. Therefore, changes may occur at some point. ICH GCP provides reporting guidelines for marketed drugs in Topic E2 on clinical safety management, standards for expedited reporting. Definitions from the FDA regulations at 21 CFR 312.32, Subpart A, are as follows. Adverse event means any untoward medical occurrence associated with the use of a drug in humans, whether or not considered drug-related. The association is temporal without any judgment on causality. An adverse reaction means any adverse event caused by a drug. Adverse reactions are a subset of all suspected adverse reactions for which there is reason to conclude that the drug caused the event. Suspected adverse reaction means any adverse event for which there is a reasonable possibility that the drug caused the adverse event. For the purposes of IND safety reporting, reasonable possibility means there is evidence to suggest a causal relationship between the drug and the adverse event. A suspected adverse reaction implies a lesser degree of certainty about causality than adverse reaction, which means any adverse event caused by a drug. Please note that suspected adverse drug reaction, SADR, replaces the earlier associated with the use of the drug terminology. An adverse event or suspected adverse reaction is considered serious if, in the view of either the investigator or sponsor, it results in any of the following outcomes: death, a life-threatening adverse event, inpatient hospitalization or prolongation of existing hospitalization, a persistent or significant incapacity or substantial disruption of the ability to conduct normal life functions, a congenital anomaly or birth defect. Important medical events that may not result in death, be life-threatening, or require hospitalization may be considered serious when, based upon appropriate medical judgment, they may jeopardize the patient or subject and may require medical or surgical intervention to prevent one of the outcomes listed in this definition. Adverse event or suspected adverse reaction is considered life-threatening if, in the view of either the investigator or sponsor, its occurrence places the patient or subject at immediate risk of death. It does not include an adverse event or suspected adverse reaction that, had it occurred in a more severe form, might have caused death. The determination of whether an adverse event is life-threatening can be based on the opinion of either the investigator or sponsor. An adverse event or suspected adverse reaction is considered unexpected if it is not listed in the investigator brochure or is not listed at the specificity or severity that has been observed, or if an investigator brochure is not required or available, is not consistent with the risk information described in the General Investigational Plan or elsewhere in the current application. Unexpected also refers to adverse events or suspected adverse reactions that are mentioned in the investigator brochure as occurring with a class of drugs or as anticipated from the pharmacological properties of the drug, but are not specifically mentioned as occurring with the particular drug under investigation.